Good. Hello, everyone. This is Dinesh here as today's your host. Let me introduce myself. I am 25 years in software industry, working in various positions like developer, manager, CTO, architect, delivery head, and I have managed almost 50 plus team members and luckily work in the IoT domains, web, mobile applications, and AI, recently AI/ML. So today's topic is a very interesting topic. We'll be talking about product engineering for AI/ML, of AI/ML, and by ML. So let me start with introducing our panel today. So I'm really excited to be here in today to share the insights, engage meaningful discussion on the future of product engineering in AI/ML. So our first guest is Stephen Blum. So let me introduce him. So Stephen Blum is an experienced technology leader with passion for building innovative AI applications. He has been proven track record of driving innovations and leading the team. He is a co-founder and CTO of PubNub. Stephen has played a very crucial role in product engineering and scaling the high performance platform. He continued to develop a pioneer new solutions in AI. So I hereby welcome Stephen. Stephen, do you like to add any more points?
Hi, Dinesh. Yeah, it's great to be here. I'm excited to talk about some AI today. Thank you for the introduction. It was great. CTO here at PubNub. We are the world's largest global publish subscribe network. We are now a complete developer platform. We've got over 1 billion devices connected for multiplayer gaming and on-demand economy with delivery and things like that. There's a new thing that's coming out these days with AI. It's called chatting with the LLM in a group setting. This is something that Anthropic is starting to get really excited about as well. And the top 10 apps in the App Store today, they all have built-in communication. And this is the kinds of APIs that PubNub provides, and that's what we power today.
Definitely. I think we'll be very excited to talk about it in a further conversation and really happy to know the more details about it. Okay, so welcome again, Stephen. Let me introduce our next guest, Christopher. So, Christopher, welcome, Christopher.
Hello, you all right?
Good to see you. Yeah. So, Christopher, I'll just give you your little bit introduction about yourself. Christopher is a visionary CTO with a deep understanding in AI. He has a proven track record of delivering AI innovative solutions. He has recently completed a master's in AI, so which equipped him a fresh perspective in cutting-edge expertise. Christopher combines a strategic vision and forward-thinking solution. So he'll have a lot of good insights about AI in today's topic. So welcome again, Christopher. So
Thank
do you
you
like
for
to add
having
any
me.
points?
No, I think you've covered that really well. Thank you.
Thank you. So thank you again. So our next guest is Rohan from EOV. He's a dynamic result-driven digital marketing specialist. So let me add into the stage right now. So he's also live now. Hi, Rohan.
Hi.
Can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi, Rohan this side. I've been into digital marketing since past 4 to 5 years and working with the startups, and it was great. Like it was dynamic, and I was learning more about AI and ML, and that's where when you introduced this topic, and I got excited. That's why I was like, yeah, definitely, I would love to join uh, this webinar.
Conversation.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rohan, for joining. So, without wasting too much time, I'll directly jump to the main topic. I'll just give the brief overview about the topic to the audience, what is the takeaway for them. So, today, the topic which will cover about product engineering by AI for AI. So, we'll be talking about mostly, we'll covering in the current trends in AI ML, challenges and solutions of current implementation, then ethical consideration, because that is also coming a very important point nowadays. Ethical consideration like fairness, transparency, accountability in AI ML driven products. So that also we'll talk in detail about it. Then we'll also talk about real world applications, like example from Stephen, example from Christopher, what they have implemented in their own organizations, that also we'll discuss. And we'll also discuss about future outlook, what is going to happen in the future in AI/ML, what are the new technologies coming. So we'll discuss about it. So we directly jump into the conversation questions mode right now. So as if you consider trend in adaptation, so the first question comes into the mind, like maybe Stephen can answer this question. What are the most significant AI/ML trends that are impacting product engineering today? So can
Ooh.
you give more points on that, Stephen?
All right, so we're talking about the most significant trends that are impacting product engineering today. That's kind of what
Yes,
we're describing. Yeah.
right.
So from as we're building products, a lot of it's related to technology, right? So we're writing software, and
Right.
the biggest one that I would say all the engineers at PubNub, most of them, they use Copilot and Visual Studio Code, or they might be running their own Copilot locally using Olama and interacting with the model. If they have an M1 or better, this is the kind of thing that they're getting their hands on the most. And I mean, you think about it from a business perspective, this is the thing every business owner should be scared of right now, is that the rest of the industry, they're out innovating you because their teams are taking advantage of these AI technologies, and your teams might not be. So make sure we'll probably be talking a little bit more about this, is how do we incentivize our teams to make sure that they're making our company as best as it can be and keeping up with the industry.
Definitely. I think that will be very interesting topic for software development and other companies, also startups who are working. So they will have some very good use cases from this. So we'll talk about that further, Stephen. So the next question comes is like, how do you foresee AI/ML transforming product engineering in near future? Any emerging trends that we should keep eye on? Maybe Christopher or Stephen, you can answer that. Yes.
Well, my opinion, emerging trends would be spiky neural networks. I think that's a really
Okay.
promising, a really promising avenue in machine learning.
Okay.
Stephen, I don't know if you've got any.
So
Yeah. Yeah,
Chris, you were describing, Christopher, you were describing the spike. Can you clarify that a little bit? The spike in machine learning, like what does this mean?
Yeah, sorry, it's your current state of the art, like deep neural networks have connections between the neurons, and they're making calculations, and it's being passed to every neuron and every connection through the network. Whereas a spike in neural network is more modeled on the human brain, how that works, in that between the neurons, it's not the weights that's calculated, but it's the information's encoded in spikes, either in the time or the frequency and rates. So it's really quite interesting field.
That's going to be exciting, because you see today the existing feed-forward neural network models, they're pretty much fully connected. So you've got these matrices, right? All these matrices of numbers that you're multiplying on each other on layers upon layers. That's just the computer way to do it. If we do it like the model, like after a human brain, you've just got billions of neurons. They're all over the place, and it's not a full mesh like the AIs do it today. They're just firing independently. That's going to be really cool. I'm excited to see what comes from that.
Yeah, and the energy efficiencies of that is why people are pushing for that. It's even been referenced as the third generation of AI. So that's how much promise that researchers think it's got. So it's a really exciting avenue.
Nice.
That's interesting. Good to share. Thank you, Christopher and Stephen. Next thought comes like regarding the product engineering. So, Stephen, can you share the challenges that your team has faced while integrating the AI/ML model into your product, and how you overcome that?
The hard part is figuring out what to do. There's so many possible applications.
True.
Yeah, it's a tough challenge. There's even a big innovation in the industry where you get a lot of businesses that are just there to help ideate ways to add value with AI into existing businesses, because it's really all about figuring out what data you have and then what
Okay.
answers you want from that data. And
Mm-hmm.
that's where you step back, and then the computer does the learning for you. That's the AI part. And so it's just the ideation. That's tough. That's the tricky one. Good news is we have a lot of customers at PubNub, and they're asking us for very specific features that we are helping them implement. And it's really in a matter of scale, where they've got
Okay.
their own millions of users. It's really hard to keep up with every single user. And having an AI that can do some repetitive tasks really help them out a lot.
Just,
Stephen, like,
sorry,
yeah, yes.
I've got a question on that one. With the amount of data that you've got, because of AI and machine learning's inherent ability to recognize patterns within the data, are you finding anything anything that these models are finding that you've not noticed before?
Oh, yes. We've been looking at this. I've been working with my VP of engineering as well, Scott Hill, at PubNub. There's just a lot of data and a lot of customers at PubNub. So there's just tons of different kinds of data. And I can't dive into it too much further than that, because it crosses the barrier of privacy from concerns and things like that. So there are a lot of very interesting patterns that you can see in large populations, because like I was describing, PubNub, we have 1 billion devices connected, and the US population is only 135 million or so, right? And so we span the world in terms of connectivity, being the world's largest published subscribed global network. We see a lot of things, and our customers see a lot of things. So there are some patterns. I want to tell you, I really do, but we'll have to hold back some of those details.
I think that's interesting to know that. Like, definitely, like Stephen or maybe Christopher, you can also answer this question. Like, the question comes is like there are a lot of LLM models are coming into the industry now. Every day I see new model, new version is coming, and there is always a challenge for the companies when they want to implement any a solution. If they want to use LLM model, so how they can shortlist the LLM model? What should be the ideal criteria? Like whether I should go for open source, I should go for the paid version. Then what is the data privacy role plays here? So can you brief about, or can you talk about that? How to shortlist it, LLM?
That's a really good question, that one.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, my preference would be for paid ones.
Okay.
Just from experience, I'm not against open source. I've
Mhm.
really readily embraced open source.
Mhm.
I've got them readily available, but I think you've got to look at the customers, or the end
Okay.
users. So if you think of the end users for this, is not really the public. We're talking like businesses, small businesses, startups, that kind of thing. They're not going to particularly have the technical abilities in-house to do that.
Okay.
And I think the amount of resources available to host and run these open source models is going to be quite prohibitive for the vast majority of startups.
Got it. Got it. So it's only not only about performance, also the privacy plays a role here, right? Because some companies may not be interested to go push their data to the cloud, right? For LLM or paid LLM. So then they have to go with some open source LLMs in that case. The challenge, I mean, recently we have also implemented one use case for the Llama 2. So what we realized that the result on the chat GPT was better, or paid versions was better than the open source LLM. But that was version one, and now Llama 3 has come up, or new versions are coming, and they are becoming better and better and better every day. So so I think that dilemma will be there, right? Like whether my data should be private or my data should be protected. Is If it is has to be protected private data, then I may not able to use the cloud version or paid version of it. I may have to build in house. So is it a viable solution for that for today small medium enterprise organizations?
Personally, I think so. I do think that there is the ability out there, because you're not just looking at the models, you're looking at the hardware and the infrastructure and the latency between the data transfers. So there's it goes beyond just the AI models, because in terms of being able to do that,
Mm-hmm.
you can, but you do need that technical expertise as a wider base. But
Okay.
I think it is a use case by use case, basically. For if
Will
you've got
change.
the data that you need to be secure, then yes, certainly you would look at deploying your own solution on your own private servers. Where if you've not got that
Mm-hmm.
that issue with the data, then a paid open source, a paid version would be the direction.
Okay, okay, got it, clear. So next question come into the mind, like how do you ensure that your AI ML solutions both are innovative and as well as the practical when it is deployed on the real world environment? Because something which is practical has to be innovative and innovative has to be practical. So how you balance it? Maybe Stephen or Christopher, you can answer this.
Yeah, well, that's you're balancing innovation with practical. I mean,
Yes.
you really think about it, the practical side of things is the really critical aspect. You can get some excitement with some innovations. Ooh, that looks. How did that? It's like magic. How does that work?
Correct.
You can get some excitement there. That's great from a marketing perspective. Practicality, you need some real tangible outcomes. It's got to work, and it's got to help your team. This is what we're seeing in the industry today. The
Mhm.
biggest innovation is helping existing teams be more productive. That's using these AIs probably more in a we're not fine tuning these models. We can
Right.
use some of these generative large language models with the retrieval
Mhm.
augmented generation, and that's
Perfect.
the biggest one right there. That's helping because there's just in any business today, big, small. There's just so much data, and there's proprietary data about the business. CRMs, wiki pages, internal code documentation. There's just a ton of stuff, and it's helping businesses accelerate by
Mhm.
giving all of their team members resources access to a retrieval augmented generation system. Typically, you will need to have something like a Llama 3 running on probably a
No,
private
like
server.
private.
Yeah, that's the best way to go about it, I think.
That reminds me, like we did a recent development based on almost what you mentioned, that same technology. We use RAG and then we use a Llama 3. That was very interesting use case. Now suppose somebody has a software development requirement in their head and they want to put it on paper. It takes a lot of time for the non-technical person to put it. So what we did, what we have created a very simple interface. The person will interact with the chatbot. Chatbot will ask you a couple of questions, and based on the answers, it LLM generates the new questions. And after interacting for 5 minutes, he get the email. In the email, he get the attached PDF. In PDF, it is mentioned as a system requirement specifications. These are the users, these are the use cases, and these are the test cases, and these are most likely preferred technology for your development. If it is web, it suggests web technologies. If it is mobile, mobile. So all this is based on this what you mentioned, that RAG on the top of Llama 3. So good. I think that was interesting. So this is the new hot topic. What I see in the industry, RAG, and if you talking about technology, now the next question comes is from the ethical considerations. So maybe Stephen, as a AIML, since AIML is becoming more widespread, what are the ethical concerns do you think that most critical to address during product development? Because data can be biased, and since data is a biased model, can be a biased. So how we can balance, take care of it? Yeah, suggestion.
There is we've got a double-edged sword here. We've actually got a problem. So when we're training these models to be concerned about how they're responding in a way that's fair and things like that, you were actually hurting the model's productivity and its capabilities. Its performance drops. We've seen significant reduction in the performance the more governance we throw onto the models, and that's counterproductive. It is. It's a problem from that perspective. And so trying to find a balance there, that's the hard part. We do see one of the approaches that big industries are taking is having a secondary model. So they don't want to damage the primary model's capability. They will keep it less, well, it'll stay biased. It'll be super biased. And then you have a second model that comes in and checks and validates things like that. And then it can come in and help retrain. You also have humans come in and also provide feedback there. And this training cycle involves a lot of data, but also a lot of feedback to the model. That seems to be one of the ways that's being addressed for this level of ethical concern from that perspective.
Perfect.
I find that really, really fascinating what you just said about having the human aspect of having humans to check the results. And personally, there's a lot of people have the opinion of being scared around what is happening with advances in AI and technology, and it's all because people are thinking, is it going to replace my job? What am I going to do for work? And this could be something where there is a new industry that comes along of actually regulating and moderating the results from these kind of machines.
So you mean that, like, right now we are validating software development by doing the test cases automation, writing doing the manual acceptance of it. Similar kind of things can become here from the regulations, and then that will also increase the jobs for the acceptance of the models.
Yeah, I think what we're going to see is new industries evolve around this technology. So we're going to have there'll be jobs for human moderators of these AI models. There'll be people who are potentially checking the data that these models are being trained on, and then there's going to be the end case would be you've already seen prompt engineers arising, which I've never seen that before. Like 12 months ago, it's a totally brand new thing that you can. At the end of the day, this is just a tool. You've got to think of it as AI and machine learning is a tool to make us more productive. I mean, my personal experience of using these is that the jobs that I find that are kind of repetitive or they can be done by these machines, which means that I can actually concentrate on things that are more valuable. So I think it is a necessity for this progress, and it's understandable that people are going to be kind of wary and a bit fearful of what the future is going to be. But I think as human beings, we'll adapt to this new future and this new situation. And just like the previous industrial revolution, there's going to be new jobs. There's going to be new fortunes made. It's a really exciting time. And for me personally, I think this is a time that we should be doing this right. Previously, when the industrial revolution, you got individuals became very rich, and it all became kind of condensed into these pockets of people with the power, like the mill owners and stuff like that. I think we've got the opportunity to democratize this new technology. And if we do it right, that everyone can benefit from it, and everyone can get use and benefit from this system, rather than it just being the select few that have that power and become gatekeepers of this new technology. I think this should be a technology that's for everyone and not just for the few.
Yeah, I think that's very interesting topic, actually. That I'm totally accept it. That should happen. I think when we talk about ethical consideration, there were good points has come to make sure to address the ethical concerns. Stephen added two point very important points is how we can address this concern. So we have to use one model and to validate ethical concerns of results of it by identifying biasness of it, developed another model which validate it, and on the top of it there has to be human intervention where which will accept or reject it also. I think that's a good overall, I'll say, hybrid solution for ethical consideration. So that addresses good. So Christopher, maybe you can, since you recently completed your masters in artificial intelligence, so what are the skill set you recommend for the team who are working on the AI/ML and which are about to start? So what are the skills they should focus more on that?
Oh, that's a really good question. I hope my lecturers aren't watching this. uh, so I learned a lot from doing that because I didn't want to just dive into producing AI models or using wrappers of OpenAI. That was the reason for going down the route of doing a master's, so that I could actually understand how everything works, so I can understand it. So for me personally, I think everyone now, I mean, I'm guilty of this as well. You always go towards the new and the shiny. So you look at the deep neural networks or the spiky neural networks or large language models. People aren't looking at the first generation of AI. I think there's still a place for that, for the machine learning models of, like random forest networks, scale vector
So definitely,
models.
yes, definitely.
So I'm just trying to, because I've been mostly focusing on deep neural networks and spiking. So, but yeah, I think getting an understanding of how they actually work at a fundamental level, I think is really important. I feel like a lot of people these days are just making wrappers for large language models that are available out there, and then calling themselves an AI company.
True.
I don't think that's that's true, and potentially that's quite damaging. I feel like if we're not careful, the current AI industry could become a bit like how Bitcoin was, or blockchain a few years ago. There was a lot of hype behind it, and from that hype there were people that took advantage of the situation of people not really knowing what it was, but they didn't want to miss out. So by that and money flowing in, a lot of people got ripped off, lost money, and it left a bit of a bad taste for it, which is fundamentally a really good technology. I just think it's got the wrong use case, and I feel like if we're not careful, AI could go the same way. That if we're not actually making proper AI and we're just making wrappers for these large language models, then I think people are going to lose money, and I think people are going to start. It'll get a bad connotation, a bit like Bitcoin.
That would be a terrible outcome, Christopher. Like what you're describing is like we had this blockchain technology, which is really powerful consensus algorithm that allows distributed anonymous compute systems to collaborate together. What a really powerful algorithm that is, and it got damaged by all this crazy cryptocurrency and that technology being used to take money from other people, and just it's terrible. The same thing can happen with AI if we're not careful.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. I mean, to take a really good technology like blockchain and just to make it a currency is it's just insane. It's like the most base kind of thing that you could do with a blockchain technology. I mean, I do understand why. It's just you just open up to scammers, and then that damages the entire industry.
But blockchain is just one use case. Crypto is only one use case of blockchain, but that has surpassed all other features, all other technology about blockchain. I think I
Yeah,
totally agree.
and we just don't want that to happen to the AI industry, because
Yeah, true.
if you get to a certain point of that, then there's no coming back, and it'll take a long time for it to recover.
Totally agree. Yes. Okay. This reminds me another question. Like maybe Stephen, how do you encourage the continuous learning and development in your team? Because technology is changing so rapidly in AI/ML. So how you cope up?
Yeah, that's the fear of business owners today. Is your team's not going to keep up with the industry. How do you keep them up to speed and motivated to learn? From a software engineering perspective, a lot of
Okay.
team members, there's still some apathy. They're saying, "Oh
Hmm.
wait, no, it's not good enough. It can't outcode me." They're right. They're basically right. What they're missing is that for the most part, code can be treated as throwaway today because it can be generated so quickly by these things, and it's good enough. And so we need to make sure as a team to help our everyone learn as much as possible. What's the newest tech? Are they all up to date? Are they able to use these models in the right way? Today it's hard because you have to know how to use these things and you have to be good at it. There's a skill. It's a skill. You have to know how to prompt these systems. And if you're using something like Copilot, you need to know that you need to write code comments for what you want to achieve with the right context of code in between, so that way the model can generate what you're looking for. It's a talent. It's like a big giant paintbrush. Instead of little tiny strokes on a keyboard, we're sort of like, it's like Photoshop now. That's what a code editor is. It's like Photoshop. It's a different game, and so we just have to learn to be good at that. We have Slack at PubNub, so we use Slack channels to
Slack.
sort of
Okay.
keep everyone up to date. I should have just said off straight off, we should have a Slack channel.
Definitely. Good, good. It's so you're talking about more about knowledge sharing, encouraging them to learn, go to the next technology, learn it, use it. So that's good actually, because right now the challenge is also becoming so widely that I still remember I started career in 1998 with the Java. It lasted for almost 20 years,
Wow.
and I was happy. But now with the AI/ML, if I develop something today, may not be relevant in 6 months, and that is the challenge is coming.
Yeah.
Good, good.
Yeah,
So,
I feel like I feel like even teaching in universities, the curriculum, I feel so sorry for the lecturers, because they're going to have to constantly be updating the teaching that they're doing, because it might even be that they're halfway through doing a module,
mhm.
and something comes along and it's totally changed it. So they're
Yes,
already teaching things that are out of date. So but that's just the nature of what it is.
yes,
It's moving so fast. It's like the fastest that I've ever known. I think that anyone's known the progress that's been made.
Yeah, so spending all this time and energy and paying money to go to school, and it's like, I got my degree. Sorry, it's out of date. You're
yes.
behind now. It's
It is happening now.
yeah.
Good. Okay. Maybe let's talk about industry now. Industry, like Stephen, can you share some specific instances where AI/ML significantly changed the way the product are engineered in your sector? Like whatever solutions you are doing. Like you can give one example or a couple of examples where you use successfully AI/ML.
The big one is moderation. So we've got a lot of chat communications between humans in a lot of different environments on PubNub. Since we enable communication in apps,
Mm-hmm.
there's need for classroom safety. There's need for in a public setting for live events. You
Mm-hmm.
typically have you could have a million viewers all communicating at once. You don't have enough time to be able to moderate. A human just can't see something fast enough and then mark it as moderate. It's too difficult. So this is where today, right now, our customers are using AI and PubNub together, is to automatically moderate messages to help clean up things, either mark the message as potentially harmful information and obscure it, but allow the user to open it up. That's one of the options. Like, okay, so I do want to read. I know I shouldn't read it, but I'm going to read it because I want to see what they said. We let you do that, but you could also go a step further where the customer themselves, our customer, they don't want anyone to see the data, so they can actually just hide that completely from the audience. And so that's a real world existing use of AI in PubNub today.
So, Stephen, does it support multilingual or English? Like how it works? Maybe just overview.
Yep, you got it. So here's actually really powerful capability. You've probably heard of
Yes.
huggingface.co.
Yes.
They have a host of a ton of open source models and the weights too. And
Mm-hmm.
they have basically all the kinds of trainings that have already been done for you. So you don't have to pre-train
Okay.
a model. And they also have all the data there too in every language. So you can
Okay.
leverage that information together to help, because these models are a lot smaller than the large language models. So
Okay.
training them can happen within a few hours pretty easily on a powerful GPU, even on a single server. So this is something that we're leveraging today that helps enable multi-language support for moderation across all those in-app communications.
Got. I think that's very interesting. So, next question comes to Christopher. Like, what are the unique opportunities do you think in AIML present for industry that you are involved today?
What was that? Sorry.
What are the unique opportunities do you think in AIML at present for industry?
Ooh, unique opportunities. Wow. I think anything based around making AI understandable. So actually understanding how it works and operates. Green AI. So
Mhm.
we touched earlier on about environmentally friendly. For me personally, that's like the biggest one on my list. But then after that, time series models. I think there's a lot of stuff around, especially around ensemble models with time series and other data that could be brought in. But then after that, who knows where it's going to go? It like literally could be anything. That's the beauty of what we're in at the minute, because like we talked earlier again, machines noticing patterns in data that humans miss or don't see. There's a lot of things that's happening now or going to be happening that we never even thought about and think, well, how is that connected? So yeah, it's just a really exciting time. Oh, and IoT. I think AI and IoT is yeah, the closer we can get the AI to make these decisions to the actual data source, I think that is going to be a game changer.
Definitely. I think in addition to IoT, what I realized that video analytics is becoming very important role now. Like it's really difficult to manually analyze the video and come up with the conclusion. But video analytics plays very important role. Like recently, I was working on one of the research paper. I just gone through that. So what they do, they like in the operation theater, they monitor the actual operations, what is happening, and they capture the video, and then they feed it to the model, and model come up with their own analysis how the operation went well, or how what are the precautions should be taken, or is the doctor use right tools for surgery or not. So such kind of that is very critical. Video analytics example I given, like there are a lot of tons of video analytics examples are there, like traffic violations, fault detections, and so those are coming from the various industries actually.
Yeah, there was news actually in the UK recently about cameras using AI watching drivers for violations like using phones, not wearing seatbelts. I would not have known that. I would not even thought of that like a year or 2 years ago. So that just shows how we don't know what directions these are all going to take.
Right. Definitely. So now the next, like this is about industry. Now we talk about what is happening in the what will happen in the future. So Stephen, maybe this is a question to you. How do you balance the need of immediate product outcomes with the long-term AI ML innovation?
Well, that's a tricky one, because you want immediate now. You want it now. Where do I wait?
Yes.
Because that's the fear again, is everyone's going to out innovate you how do you keep up?
Yep.
So what we're doing at PubNub is we've focused some significant initiatives directly on AI. We've got
Okay.
a large roadmap for the next year and going into 2025. What are we going to focus on? And this is what other businesses are doing as well. They're making sure that they need to keep up with the industry. They need to add AI into their products and into their businesses. And we need to see, the sooner you get to value there, the sooner you get to market, the better, because it gives you that first movement advantage. If you don't have that first mover advantage, you'll just be playing catch up, which is,
Definitely.
then becomes everyone's doing it and it's a standard. And now if you don't play catch up and you don't play the game, now you're going to slowly fall behind, and you'll keep falling behind, and everyone can just outpace you and shoot straight up. So you got to make sure to get things done quick.
I think that also reminds me, like as soon as you get into the quick and deploy the model, the challenge comes is scalability. So the next question challenge will be for us how we are going to make a scalable product, right? From the AI/ML model point of view. So what are the strategies do you think that these are effective in ensuring AI/ML model can be scale up and scale down in real world challenges?
That's so after you talk about operational in this case.
Yes,
Let's
yes,
talk
yes,
about some
yes.
like real world capabilities, auto scaling perhaps. This is hard. This is a hard part about auto scaling AI today, is that it does take quite a bit of time to load models into memory.
True.
It's a ton of time to load these models in memory. So you kind of need to have a little bit extra capacity available and ready for larger spikes. If you don't have these servers ready and you're paying for them, even if they're just kind of sitting there, maybe not fully being utilized, it's just going to take you too long to spin up another server, load that server with a model, and then start servicing API calls to it. That's a hard part. That's a challenge. And it gets even worse when you're using a large language model, say even with a Llama 3, even the 8 billion model. It takes tens of seconds to load that model and to boot the server. It's too slow. The user's not going to wait for that. No user's going to wait. The user wants to wait no longer than maybe 1 or 2 seconds. And the Doherty threshold is 400 milliseconds. You don't have a lot of time to scale up. So that's the problem. That's why I was really excited about hearing with Christopher saying there's a lot of effort on the green initiative, making these models more efficient, faster, better, stronger, using less hardware and better algorithms that are more green.
I mean, these like you're just saying there about the difficulty of allocating the resources between the models. That could be something that could be automated. That could be one of the avenues we're talking about for development in AI. If someone had AI moderator or controlling the resources for the AI models, it's crazy.
Yeah, that's going to be cool. That's going to be actually really exciting. This, like at PubNub, we have a DevOps team. It's the largest team at PubNub. You can imagine a future. Well, a lot of those tasks are repetitive and just administrative. What if there was a DevOps AI that just did all the things for us? It's like, oh, that needs that. Oh, we need to do something over there. Oh, because we have all these run books and playbooks. When things happen, a human might need to jump in. Well, an AI could just read the instructions in the run book and perform the tasks itself.
Yeah, that's definitely a shut up and take my money moment. That.
Yeah. There's a business right there. You can build that. That's it.
Stephen, also since you are talking about DevOps, so that definitely push for us to talk about MLOps. So, what kind of MLOps strategy you are following in your organizations? Like how you are doing it?
So it's about integrating into CI/CD
Products.
and
Yes, yes.
testing, and there's not a lot of tools that exist today other than the traditional chains. So you'd still want, if you're going to be deploying with an LLM and you have a model, you'll need to be able to go beyond just running, like building a Docker container, which is a lot what we're doing today with our existing services. It builds binaries, builds Docker containers. There's a lot more resources required to to leverage with these larger models. So you have to spin up separate servers, and you have to way to access those servers to test them in integration environments. So what you're describing is we need a whole new chain of DevOps tools to operate these models. And
Definitely.
there's a whole industry there just for that. We're going to see new businesses specifically focused on just this.
So,
Yeah.
so new businesses will
Certainly
start
agree.
mostly ML ops, right? ML ops, and then because every model what they develop has a decay. After some time, you have to redevelop the model, refine the model, deploy it automatically. So definitely that is going to bring a lot of new business opportunity for ML ops in that case. So I think we are about to complete our session in time. So I'll check if there is any questions from the audience.
Yeah, I was
I feel like
watching. There's quite a few folks who have asked questions.
Oh wow! I feel like we could talk for a lot longer.
Yeah.
all this stuff.
Definitely, I think there was one question about RAG systems. Like maybe they are asking more information about RAG. Maybe you can, Stephen. Can you brief about that? What is RAG and explain it?
RAG, which is retrieval augmented generation, it's the idea where you need to index your data. There's a lot of talk about vector databases and like, oh, we can vectorize and embed. And it's great from a search perspective. It's a lot of how Google works and how their search works is based off of this design. You don't need to use a vector database. You can use a traditional keyword lookup system, like Elastic or full text search, these search systems that stem words, and that can still work just fine. What you really need to do from a retrieval augmented generation perspective is you have a user who types in a question into a chat window. That question needs to be pulled apart and then thrown against a database to pull back information and articles that are stored that are relevant to the query or the question that the user's asking. They might need to say what Python library uses our security access. Like, which one should I use? And so you've got this database or a wiki, and you need to be able to search against it and then pull back that information. And then in the prompt for the LLM, you would paste in that document as well as the user's question. And now the LLM can then provide the answer based on your business's specific knowledge base. That's the whole point. And yeah,
there's quite an interesting new database, SurrealDB, that I've been using for quite 12 months. But they're working on actually embedding the machine learning models into the database, which is it's so exciting that what they're doing there. Sorry, a bit of a name drop, but yeah, if you got a chance, check it out. I do like that database model. I think it's really good.
Yeah, they've got a shiny website. I like it.
Yeah.
That's true. Okay, since we are running out of time, so we'll conclude the session. But definitely, this is not the last session. We'll also have another 5 sessions, which will deep dive into the AI ML technology. We'll talk about Gen AI. We'll talk about LLM models. Also, in future, we'll talk about the real use cases and how it solve the problem. So thank you all for joining today's discussion. It has become a pleasure to host. It has been pleasure to be, host this webinar and explore AI/ML technology. I want to extend my thank you to esteemed guests Stephen Ram, Christopher Smith, and Rohan Omar for sharing deep expertise in the real world experiences. Your insights have been incredibly valuable, and I know our audience has gained a lot of information from this. Definitely. Big thank you to audience also for your engagement and thoughtful questions. As we wrap up, I encourage you to stay connected and continue the conversation. We have more exciting events, as I mentioned, and resources are coming up, including deep dive into the AI/ML automation in product engineering, and also we'll talk in detail about future trends in ML applications. So once again, thank you all for being a part of this webinar. Let's keep pushing the boundaries of what is possible in AI/ML and product engineering to the next level. Have a great day and see you at the next event. Thank you. See you then. Bye.
Cool.
Thank you. Thank you for joining.
Thank you.